God has given you everything for a reason. Your passions, your knowledge, your skills. He wants to use all of it. But mostly He just wants to use you, a human being, a person, to connect with other people and to show them the love of God through your relationship. About 5 years ago, my wife and I were sitting in church, and fellowship was talking about mission trips and telling personal stories about people that had participated. When we got through the service, I turned to my wife and said, "I'm going on one of these trips." Of course, I didn't act on it. A few weeks later, we're sitting in Sunday service, and one of the teaching pastors asked a simple question. When you look at the mirror in the morning, are you the man God intended you to be? Of course, my answer within about a second was no, and I knew I needed to do something about it. My first step was to go on a mission trip and just see where that led me and how it would change me. I started contacting fellowship about going on a mission trip, and they told me to go online and look at the trips and pick ones that I was interested in. Well, every one I always picked that I was interested in, they would come back, this trip's full, pick something else. This trip's full, pick something else. So finally, at one point, I wrote on there, I'm not picking another trip. Pick up the phone and call me, and let's decide what trip I can go on. And within a week, fellowship contacted me, and I was on my first mission trip going to Nicaragua to drill a freshwater well. I'm a contractor and an engineer, so drilling a freshwater well in Nicaragua was a perfect fit for me. When we got down there and we had finished drilling the well, water was flowing, a big spout of water. So it was shooting out there, and these little kids were watching, and they were getting closer and closer, and I had this bucket, and I turned to Jorge, the guy that was in charge there. I asked him, is it okay if I nail these kids with this bucket of water? And he said, yeah, go ahead. So I filled up the bucket, and I hit those kids. Well, that just turned into about an hour water fight. That included the young kids all the way to the elderly people. And Jorge had come up to me afterwards. He said, Terry, you don't understand what this is to these guys. He said, they'll be talking about this 20 years from now because water's so precious there. There won't be an opportunity like this again probably in their lives, and they'll still be talking about the crazy American that came and started the water fight. And at that point, I knew really why we were there. It was there to give them water that would make their life more sustainable, but it was really about us connecting and just letting them know we were the same as they were. From there, I've gone on trips to Colombia, Ghana, Honduras, and back to Nicaragua. Funny thing that happened along the way is we started meeting these people and sharing stories with them, and God just uses you. I found that all God wants you to do is show up. If you'll just show up with a willingness, even if you don't feel like you're equipped, God will give you the tools for what you need. I never dreamed I would be standing in a church in Ghana with a couple of hundred people talking to them about discipleship and telling my testimony. That wasn't who Terry White was. Terry White was the contractor and the builder and the doer, but not the talker. And when you allow God to take over your life and trust Him, you can do anything for His glory. If I was to talk to someone that was in the position I was in a few years back, every time you have that stirring and feel like you need to be doing something for Christ or to serve Christ, don't wait. Step up. All you got to do is show up, and God will take care of it for you. And I can promise you that you'll be stretched mentally, physically, and spiritually. But what I'd say is don't wait. If you're 50 like I was, it's not too late. If you're 20, it's not too early. And if you're 70, it's not too late. So step up. This isn't my story, it's God's story. It was worth telling.